Introducing Your Trauma Talks, an incredible new series that brings live conversations with individuals who share your resilience and understand your story. Join us as we dive deep into the realm of mental health, exposing the truth behind the challenges these remarkable individuals have faced. Discover how you have overcome adversity as these incredible souls take the stage in New York City, sharing their inspiring stories with everyone. Experience the power of Your Trauma Talks on Trauma Talks Thursdays, live as we bring you face to face with individuals who have triumphed over their trauma and come out stronger on the other side. Hear their raw and honest accounts of their struggles and how they have found healing and hope in the midst of pain. Don't miss out on this rare opportunity to connect with those who truly understand what you are going through. Join us for an unforgettable evening every Thursday of sharing, support, and solidarity as we come together to break the stigma surrounding mental health. Experience the magic of Your Trauma Talks live in New York City, where compassion and courage converge to create a space of healing and empowerment. It's time to speak up, listen, and learn from those who have walked a similar path. And we say, those have walked a similar path. And you know, on this planet, it's approximately 9 billion people, and each individual has their own story. Each individual goes through some sort of struggle in their own way. As Ra tell you all the time, we are all connected. Think about water in the ocean, how it all comes together. But if you take a big vessel and you dip some of that water out, and then you bring it back to the shore and you pour it out into smaller vessels, the only thing that separates that water is the vessels. The same thing with all us human beings. We are all connected in some way or the other. We just have to understand that each individual thinks differently. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trauma Talk Thursdays. Yep, Trauma Talk Thursdays. And we are on episode 8, season 2. Wow, what a milestone. Every single time. And you know what's crazy about it? I was just telling my good, beautiful, talented pal, co-host in the back, waiting to come up. I was telling her only this week, we are booked out until July. And I think that the only reason why it's until July is because the calendar don't allow them to take more than 3 months. So all is booked out until July. And this is how amazing the podcast is. People keep looking at it, keep listening. The people on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, those of you who look at us week after week as we live stream, so you can ask a question, so you can leave a comment, so you can send some love and share some love with our amazing guest that shows up week after week to talk to you about their resilience, their truth. So, you know, every single week, we come out and we talk about things that's been going on. And this week, I had some reflections of my past 5 years, basically. 5 years, because 2020 was a huge changing year for me. And every time it went on, year after year, people came into my life, just like I told you all. We are all passengers in each other's lives. And when we say this is, if you are the driver of your car, the people that come into your car are your passengers. That's the people in your life. If you're a pilot, it's the same thing. If it's a subway car and it's a train, it's the same thing. The driver is the main person. The passengers are the ones the people will come on and off. And I have reflected this week on the amount of people that came through my life. And just this week, we were speaking again about people who show you two faces. And let me tell you something, over the years, one of the things that I always do is very much be very observant, especially when it comes to people. And one thing I cannot understand, and I actually had a conversation with my doctor about this. Yes, and this was how crazy it is. And the thing is, what I was told to do was not something Ra would like, but how you categorize people, and you have to keep placing them in certain boxes because those are the people that come into your life. And no matter what you do for them, no matter how much good you show them, they will always turn against you. They will always have that other face waiting for you. So you, as the individuals, have to know who is in your life. You also have to know that those people that were in your life that were two-faced or showed you one face and betrayed you with another, you have to always remember, moving forward, life is not over, and you will still meet people, and you will meet new people. And those new people as well, you would not be able to tell when they will do such a thing again. So I was told to start categorizing them and put them into different boxes or categories in your life. And as someone comes into your life with those type of energies, you will register. It will register. And this explanation was in a total different way from how I'm saying it. But in the easiest way I can tell you is it will start to register in a way that you will start noticing the trait that the different traits of people, and you will be able to grab them instantly and be able to put them into that right category. So you would know that, hey, this person is out there ready to betray me, this person is out there ready to backstab me, those type of things. And you would know from the patterns that happened in the past. Also, patterns that happened in the past, reflecting has a huge part to play in those type of patterns, because then you're supposed to reflect, understand, and change those patterns for yourself. Because remember, we love ourselves, right? You love you. And when you love you, you will do what is right for you. And I come in contact with different people in different times. Like my friend Brittany Purr. She brings a different sort of positivity. When we talk about Susie, she brings a different type of positivity. But if I put those two women stand side by side in my life, the both of them are always there to uplift and pick me up or help me pull me back up to the right place if I happen to just be going astray. And this is the people that you need in your life as long you love yourself and want changes for the better for you. Now, with me saying that, loving yourself, please do not love yourself selfishly. Because when you love yourself selfishly, you will hurt other people in that journey. That's why Ra tell you all week after week, love yourself selflessly. So when you love yourself in a manner that you love others, you would see that love come back to you in many different ways. In this economy right now, in the world right now, in today's society, there's so many things that's happening, especially in the world of mental health. Today, being May 1st, is the first day of Mental Health Awareness Month. And I am very happy to, be around or be raw, Mr. Trauma Talks, and be able to advocate for something that has so many stigmas and be there to help others understand that they are not alone in this journey. So, being it, I think that they shouldn't have a month for mental health or a day for suicide awareness or something like this, because these things happen every single day and it need to be addressed not just for 1 month, but every single day, because every single different person goes through something differently. And today I was having a conversation with Susie, And we were speaking about that again. I was going to pick her up to drop her to the airport. And on my way to the airport, the light is about to change, and I'm about to drive over the amber light. And guess what? Two kids decide to run across the street. See what Ra teaches people all the time: the unnecessary stress that people add to your life. And if I told you the scenario of what I told Susie, and it's the truth, basically, that had happened, what would have happened to me? There's so many things could have trickled down. Those two kids, one might have, by God forbid, one could have died. The other one could have been crippled or disabled or something. You do not know what could have happened from just one little mistake. You get what I'm saying? But also, it just didn't happen because of you. It happened because other people added into it. So you always have to think about your actions, especially around when it comes to others, because you do not want to be that added stress into someone else's life, because every different person is going through something in their own way or the other, whether you want to accept it or not. That is why they tell you, be kind, be nice, and be full of love and share that love. So, without further ado, I want to bring up the amazing and beautiful and talented Brittany Purr. Hello,
Hello,
how are you?
everybody. Thank you for having me, Ra. Hopefully, the sound's coming through okay. It's a little weird on my end, but that's just my setup.
It doesn't sound as powerful as you every week. It has a hollow sound to it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
maybe this will help. Is that, hold on. There we go. Is that a little better?
it's a little bit better, but for how
Okay.
powerful your talks come through, it's not as great. But I think it's
Um,
because you logged in into my thing or something like that.
I
So
am running this on two two
I can
browsers on
tell.
my
Yes.
computer, so we're pushing the limits of the system right now. So I will try to talk loud. If I'm coming through okay, let me know.
All right. So here's what, because I'm going to give it to you. So Jenny is online. Jenny saying, hello, everyone. Blessings and good evening. We have Midnight Queen is online. Kabachet, thank you so much for joining in. We haven't seen you for a very long while. We have Anna Day, Annie Ramday is online. Hi, good night. I agree. And time that I'll share up the live and let everybody go. And then you have Freddie Flores as well as online. All right. So, Brittany, how was your week and what's been going on? What's new with you? How is the progress with the book?
Well, let me get in my earbuds real quick. Maybe this will help. Once I get this turned on, 1 minute. Doo-doo-doo. If you could talk for 2 minutes.
Sure, I will. And also I wanted to tell you, double check with the settings. Maybe it's not on your mic that you normally use. So probably that's why. But you have sometimes I think your stuff comes through more powerful than mine's. So, you know, when I spoke about 2020, it's not that I had started
Mhm.
your life experiences with Raw in 2020. I started in 2018. But from 2020, a lot of things trickled down and a lot of changes happened. I speak about change all the times. Are you ready to go, Brett?
Yeah, so how does this
Uh,
sound?
Oh, that's you. That's you. There you go. Awesome.
Woo!
All right. So I'll give you the stage for yourself right now and you give them
Awesome.
your talk.
Whew. Well, Ra, you brought a lot, and it ties in perfectly with what I wanted to talk about today, too. So, when it comes to these things of people showing who they are, the aspects of betrayal and these sorts of situations, I recently had an experience last week, Friday, where it's like everything and the kitchen sink was thrown at me. I was like from 5 a.m. until midnight, working nonstop, back to back, barely any time to have dinner, barely any time for like a lunch or a snack. I woke up completely exhausted, and I had the choice of how I could show up. I had that choice of I could show up like this really stressed out, frazzled, angry person, and I actually did snap at someone. But I did preface it with, like, "I am completely tired and exhausted. I have not had a break today, like, it's insane." So, there was a mutual understanding of this because we were doing an event on Saturday and last-ditch effort to get volunteers in for it, and it was pandemonium because everybody was staffed. It's like, the universe was just like, "Let's just throw everything at you today, alright? Let's have fun with that." And in these moments where it feels like things are not working out, where things are harder to accomplish, like literally something that is so normally simple, it's an activity that I do quite often. This activity decided to not work that day. It decided to just be the worst experience I've ever had with this app of logging information there. And it was like everything that could go wrong almost went wrong, and then I had to put a pin on that because then I pulled myself out of it. And I started with different modalities, which I do have in the book, physical version. It's here. But I did rely on a lot of the things that I put in. First thing I did was I stopped, I took a deep breath, sighed it out, and then I framed my I could steer the ship of where I was going. I could either go down the rabbit hole of being angry at everybody, snapping at my kids. Sorry, I did snap at one person. Um, but not warning the individual, not being connected with my state of being. Um, I could have just, like, given up. I could have shut down, which would have been a full-on betrayal, by the way. How we show up in trauma is not necessarily who we are, and this is kind of thing when we're dealing with trauma, we will step into narcissistic tendencies if we don't know how to handle these situations for ourselves or have a level of mastery in ourselves. So it's really important to get that grounding and to create that understanding. Then you can steer your boat of where you go, of your choice. So that is the mindset, right? The mindset where you can let go of the steering wheel in the storm and it's gonna spin, you're gonna go crashing out, or you can grab that wheel and steer the boat to safe waters. And that's what you're supposed to do. Instead of being in that mindset, everything's going wrong, and I'm just panicking today, and this sucks, and I don't feel like my best today, and I'm so tired. I went, "All right, what is today? What am I thankful for?" Well, yay, I have a physical copy of my book. I had accomplished other things, like, I began to take tally of what was working, so I could follow that flow, so I could steer my mindset in that way, in a positive forward momentum, right? And then the last aspect was making sure that I got through it, and that is being response able. So responsible can be broken down into response able, not reactionary, which is that backstabbing behavior that Rob talked about. Now, granted, some people are kind of locked in those behaviors. Those are people that are locked in those narcissistic tendencies. Or sometimes we show up as that when we're dealing with a really stressful or traumatic situation, right? But when we work on ourselves and get ourselves in that space and acknowledge our choices and acknowledge our ability to show up responsibly in these situations, then we can be able to respond to what the situation demands of us. In another way of speaking, it is either letting your circumstances control you or you control the circumstances. So at the end of last Friday, I stepped into response able mode. And with that, was able to make the event, be part of making it happen, making it work out, showing up with um, food, sustenance, and we had all the volunteers stacked. The event happened, it went well, we were on time. And by the way, Saturday was completely like locked up as well. So it's like if anything did not work on Saturday, it was going to snowball. But you know what? Because I steered my mindset, because I was able to pause and breathe, because I was able to be response able, we made it happen. And it all worked out. And it was incredible. Sunday, I completely took the day off as much as possible. I did actually end up working most of the day, but I got to sleep in. So that's a plus and a positive with it. But the things that I preach, I practice. And with that, there's one more thing I wanted to bring up. There is a fine line between selfish, selfless, and self-sabotaging. So with this, being selfish was me taking my day on Sunday, right? Me getting through Friday and Saturday was being selfless. That was stepping up into leadership mode and ensuring that this event got done no matter what and that things worked out. But self-sabotage would have been the choice for me to just let go of that steering wheel, that choice moment, and letting my circumstances dictate the moment. And so once we realize there can be that little fine line that just takes one choice to lead you into this space of sabotaging yourself and those around you, you begin to realize your power of choice. And so I just wanted to add that little bit on the end to really make it apparent as how all these things play together. And with that said, Rob, come back up. I'm really excited for our speaker today, who is a reverend, best-selling author, and we'll have much more to say in a few minutes.
Hi. That, like you spoke about your act of selfless love and selflessness, and that is amazing. Let me tell you something. When you are a responsible person, there's no way you can sleep knowing that you got other people's whatever responsibility on your back, and then you go to sleep and leave everything there. That's you being selfish.
Mhm.
That means you didn't care about those other people that actually left their, let's say, lives in your hands or whatever it is. And that was very beautiful that you stepped up and did that. And I know you're a very good leader. You're not a person who follows or wait for someone to tell you what to do. And that is amazing. That is really amazing. I was just looking at some of the comments. Miss Viva said, many talk, but they don't change, especially
Mhm.
their mindsets. And that is very true. Chandra is saying, Rastas, good night to everyone. Yes, all are amazing. Rastas and Obscurum Nights, thank you for joining in on the podcast, on the live stream. And Sweetie is saying it's very true. All right. With this being said, I would like to just check here to get where we had this amazing young man's bio. I'm sorry.
I think I have it up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it while just trying to make sure I get it right here. Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, so we have Reverend Dr. DeShaun Williams is an international best-selling author, a dynamic speaker, ordained minister, and renowned author success coach. As a visionary behind Write Your Way LLC, he has dedicated his career to guiding new and aspiring writers in transforming their stories into powerful narratives that inspire and connect. A passionate advocate for mental health and personal growth, Dr. Williams believes in the healing power of storytelling, which we are about to do today. And I cannot wait to hear the story he has to bring. Through his work, he empowers individuals to embrace their journeys, lead with purpose, and create lasting impact. Whether mentoring authors, developing compelling talks, or championing wellness, he remains committed to helping others find their voice and share it with the world. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's bring up Reverend Dr. DeShaun Williams. Hello, sir. How are you today?
I am doing well. I am nervous, but I am doing well.
Well, listen, we got you. You got this. So the stage is yours. You talk to them like how you were chatting with us backstage. All right?
All right.
All right.
So, hello everyone. My name is the Reverend Dr. DeShaun Williams, as they stated. And the first thing I want to talk about, as we talk about your trauma talk, is the feeling that you don't belong. The feeling that if you were to leave today, who would miss you? Who would miss you? Who would come out? Who would try to figure out what's going on, why you're not returning the phone calls, the text messages, why you haven't shown up to work, to church, whatever it may be. The reason why I want to talk about this is in 2018, this is where I was at. And I'm 27 now, but in 2018, I had just turned 20, and I was working a full-time job. I was working in the security field and trying to maintain a personal life, church life, going to school at the time for my business degree, my bachelor's business degree. And I just remember working all these hours and not having enough time to ultimately do everything else that I had on my plate, along with being in a relationship at the time. And it's like, what is there to do? What can I possibly do to alleviate some of this stuff off of my table, off of my plate, off my table? What can I pull off the table that's not going to take away from something else? That's not going to make me feel like I'm leaving something behind. And I just never understood. I just never found out what it was that I could take off the table without feeling like I was leaving something behind. Because if I pulled away from the church and I felt like I was leaving the other volunteers behind and telling them I'm just not good, like y'all aren't worth my time. That was what was going on in my mind. And then in other times, trying to dropping out of college, in my mind, I was thinking, well, if you drop out of college, you're going to think to yourself, you're not good enough. And if you ask the job, can you cut back on your hours? They're going to think that you're not reliable enough. And if you tell your significant other, hey, I just don't have the time, then they're just going to see you as this person that's not dedicated and not ready for commitment. So I really didn't understand what I need to do. And then as things kind of kept going on and on and on and on, I just remember going to work and they was asking, hey, does anyone want to work overtime? And it was, I do. I'll work overtime. I have these bills to pay. I got this phone bill. I got this car note I got to pay. I'll work overtime. And as I was working overtime, I was just constantly putting myself in this mindset that, oh, I got to work hard. I got to work more And I got to work more and more and more because there's nobody out here that's going to help me if I don't go out there and work. There's no one that's going to see me as a success if I give up now. And taking on all those extra hours saw me ultimately end up working 70 hours a week. I'm 20 years old, I'm working 70 hours a week. I'm still trying to go to college. I'm still doing all this other stuff. So ultimately, we have work here and life all the way down here out of view. And it gets to the point of where can we where can we come and get this balance of power back? And ultimately, the balance of power didn't come. And during this time, it's like, okay, I need to truly get something off of my plate because nobody's going to listen to me. And at this time, I'm just like, okay, I just need to continue doing this and I just need to continue taking it off. And I just remember the first thing that I did, I dropped out of college. And I was like, you know what? I don't need a bachelor's degree in business. So we're just gonna alleviate that from the table. Okay, I still have a relationship. I'm still helping out in church. I'm still working 70 hours a week. So we still don't have a balance. And at this exact same time, I was like, you know what? Let's try going back to college since that college didn't work. This college allowed me to take one class at a time as a part-time student. It'll take me a lot longer time to get my bachelor's degree, but let's see if this helps. It did not help. I actually continued to work those 70 hours. We lost our first supervisor. That put me in a situation, because I knew the job, to act as the acting supervisor, training everyone that came in, and also doing my normal duties. So I'm doing the supervisor job, no extra pay. I'm doing my job as well. I'm communicating with the district office, letting them know who's fully trained, who's not fully trained, until we can get a supervisor. My relationship is going downhill, and I'm just begging and begging and begging her, please don't leave me. Please don't leave. Please don't give up. Please don't give up. And at this time, I'm having to figure out what is causing me to go out here and work myself to death. What is causing me to work this hard? What is causing me to do all these different things? And I never really understood in that present moment. Now, I didn't drop out of college at that time. I remained in college, and I just remember it finally all came to an explosion. Roughly September 19th, 2018. Now, I'm in my room, and I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking what a lot of young males think to themselves. What would happen if I was to go in my room, shut my door, do something to myself, and never walk back out of this room? Who would miss me? Who would think of me? Who would remember me? Who would have kind words to say? Who would talk bad on my name? These were the things that was going on through my mind. With my significant other, would she miss me? Would she go to somebody else? Would she immediately get with someone else? Would my job ultimately replace me by tomorrow? And as I shut the door, I'm crying. And I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm working security, so I have one thing at my disposal at all times. Literally at all times. And if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, that. Normally what law enforcement police officers carry. Yeah, I have that at my disposal at all times. And I'm thinking, wow, if I was just to do this, who would ever know? So I made that attempt. I made that attempt to take myself out of this world. That attempt, as we can all see, did not succeed. It did not. It did not go off ultimately, and I cried myself to sleep that night. I remember going to church the very next day, and I was not volunteering that day, but you know, some volunteers walked up to me and they was like, "Hey, you look rough. Thanks." Tried to take myself out of this world last night, and I didn't think anything else about it. Hey, this is a normal conversation. We're just talking normally. Nothing's ever gonna happen. It's not gonna go any further than this because who cares about men's mental health, right? That's that's what I grew up thinking. That's what I grew up being told. Nobody cares about men's mental health because you were told to suck it up, shut up, and move along. However, I was wrong. And I'm glad that I was wrong because there was a volunteer that reached out to me now it was days later, but he reached out to me on a Wednesday. Hey, are you coming to volunteer? Yes, I am. We need to talk. Okay. I'm playing crazy, playing dumb. What do we need to talk about? Because I don't know. He tells me, and when he finally tells me when I get there, it says, "Hey, you can go to the hospital, or we can force you to go to the hospital." Okay, nobody's forced me to go anywhere. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it on my own. Obviously, I work 70 hours on my own, so why not go to the hospital on my own? While I'm in the hospital, and I go through these mental health classes, and I'm being told what I'm diagnosed with. So I'm diagnosed with major depression. I'm diagnosed with major depression, and I'm sleep deprived. And I'm sleep deprived because of all the hours I work and everything I'm trying to do. And being diagnosed with major depression and being an insomniac at the same time, so you're sleep deprived because your body don't want to go to sleep, but you need to go to sleep. And because you're not getting enough sleep, the body's like, okay, we're depressed. And because we don't have the energy to move along. And that's how my body acts every single day. And it was like, wow. And they diagnosed me not with just any depression, but with major depression. The that is the highest level of depression out there. And I remember the doctors telling me, hey, because you have depression, you're not going to be able to succeed in life doing certain things that other people do that have minor depression or mild depression. And when they told me that, it didn't click right then. It was, man, I've been labeled again, and this is something else that I want to take something off my table. And now I got something else added onto my table. I have two labels added on to me that I have to carry around for the rest of my life. And I just remember they asked me, they was like, how do you feel? And I just started crying. And a lot of emotion came out. And this is when I realized the reason why I was overworking myself in my job. I was overworking myself in my job because of the labels that people had gave me in the past. And these labels were, he's not good enough. He's going to be another statistic. He is a failure. He is a loser. He is overprotective. He is clingy. He's jealous. He's not enough. He's a pain in the rear end. He'll never make anything of himself. And because I carried these titles on myself from the time I was born all the way up to me being 20, I felt the need to prove myself to other people. And because I wanted to prove myself to other people, I felt the need that I need to go out there and do all these things, even though my body cannot physically handle it. When I finally understood what it was that was causing me to feel like this, what was causing me to work myself so hard, it was me finally understanding I have to shed myself of these titles. When I shed myself of these titles, I will feel free. I will be able to love myself unconditionally because previously I felt like I was not worthy of love. And and there's times today I still feel like that. But however, at that moment, I felt like I was not worthy of love. So I felt like what everyone said about me was true. And when I finally was able to shed those things and come to the realization and come to the acceptance of this is not who what people have said about me, to me, called me, labeled me, this is not who I am. I'm a child of God. God made me this way. God made me, and He allowed me to remain alive because I have something that I need to share with the world. The hospital staff, they asked me, they said, so what are you going to do now since you're getting ready to be released? And roughly this was a week and a half after being admitted. And they was like, so what are you going to do now that you're being released? I'm going to do everything that y'all said I couldn't. I'm going to go out there and I'm not going to show y'all for y'all. I'm going to show it for myself. I'm going to show myself that I am capable of doing the things that people told me that I cannot do. I lived 20 years of my life being labeled and being told what I could and cannot do. I'm not about to live the next 60 to 80 years of my life being told what I can and cannot do. And because of that, the same day I ended up getting out of the hospital, I started a podcast because I was like, you know what? I have a story. I need to share that story with people. I need to share that story. I need to share my story with those that feel like they are worthless, those that feel like they are not worthy of love, those that feel like they are not seen, not accepted, that feel like they will never achieve anything. And that's ultimately how I got started. And it continued to build from 2018 to 2019, being in the political world and running for school board, wanting to give back to the community that I grew up in. And then, even though I failed in those school board elections from 2019 to 2022, or 2021 rather, it was 2022 actually. It it made them understand. It helped them understand that I didn't care about a win-loss record. I cared about making sure that their voices was heard, making sure that their voices was heard, understood, and making sure that they were seen. And as it has continued to build, we're looking at where I'm at now. And 2025, being 27 years old, and being able to say that roughly almost 7 years ago, I was almost no longer on this planet because of a decision that I almost decided to make. A decision that I did make, tried to follow through, but God intervened. Being able to say that coming from nowhere, coming from a small city, and being able to travel to different cities, being able to get on different platforms, both live and virtually, being able to say that I have won these awards, these books, those titles are great, but it's not what it's about. It's about making sure that others know that are going through the exact same thing that I have went through. Know that I understand their pain. I feel their pain. I see their pain. I see them. I hear them. And I want them to know that with me, there's always a safe space. And that's why I do the mental health advocacy. That's why I'm the field advocate for the state of South Carolina with the AFSP. And that's why I continue to write books. And that's why I continue to speak. And that's why I continue to share my story, because I know someone out there needs to hear it. And so with that, it comes to a full circle because I not only have this Reverend Doctor title. So it's nice to have the Reverend title, and knowing that I don't have a church that I preach in every Sunday, every Wednesday, but the world is my congregation. Those that are hurting, they are my congregation. That Doctor of Divinity, honorary degree, it's nice to have. But it's not just, I don't just call myself the Doctor of Divinity, a person that studies and preaches the message and everything. I'm the Doctor of Healing. I'm the Doctor of Healing. I want people to know that they are seen. And I want people to know that their voice matters. And so it all comes full circle because that degree, that college that I was in, that I was taking one class every 8 weeks, I did ultimately leave them in 2022. And I picked up my classes for my associate's degree in management and business management in 2024, September 2024. Literally, I started classes right after what would have been the 6-year anniversary. And I started those classes. And then And Write Your Way was started roughly 8 days before that 6-year anniversary. And everything comes full circle because not only can I say that I've created something that's going to help people and that I'm back in college, but I've created something that's going to help people, and I get my diploma, my associate's degree, 2 weeks before Christmas this year. And this is something that I want people to know. And this is the quote that I want to leave everyone with. It's not about when you get started or how long it takes you to finish. It's about if you understand that your journey may be different from the next person, but you encourage yourself. You have that group of people around you that is always going to encourage you to be the best version of yourself. So with that, I want to leave you with that.
As some of the the listeners are calling you Dr. Williams, so we'll say Dr. Williams. When we had you backstage, you were telling us and pulling our leg that you don't know what you're going to talk about, what trauma, and you just unfolded the situation into such a beautiful thing. You have so much blessings from these people on here, our rasters. Jenny saying amen, blessings. Thank you, Jesus. You are here. Think of how many people you're helping. What a strong, strong soul. Thank you for sharing. This was super powerful. You are a beautiful soul. Follow your heart. Do not listen to what people think. Amen, son. God had a special mission for you, Dr. Williams. And they were talking about you are stronger than that. As you are saying, you're talking about the labels, and they're saying, so truth, whoa. And, this is really, really powerful. You said some things, and yeah, that's Brittany's babies. And you said some things, and like And it's a true thing that I tell people that happens all the time. And I spoke to a couple people who actually attempted suicide, ended up like in hospitals, ended up in psych wards. They got the help they needed. But I'll tell you this, speaking to them on different levels, the sound and the tunes in your ear that comes along to haunt you when that word failure comes to slap you in your face, it's one of the first things that comes where people tell you, oh, the devil is the one that's speaking these things into your head. But mentally, mental health is it's so strong when it comes to yourself, that as powerful as you might jump over that hurdle of knowing that I will not do that again, or I will not attempt that again, or I will not try to hurt myself, there will always come the voices that will come to pull you down. But you have to remember how you overcome those hurdles. And every time you have to stand up and face it. No, I am not listening to you anymore. I am not listening to you because I am important. I am worth it. I am the one that is needed. And look at you today, as everyone is saying. Look, Jenny is saying, thank Jesus you are here, and think about how many people you're helping. And that's it. The thing about it, I say this when I started in 2018. I want millions to hear it. But at the end of the day, as long that one particular person who really needs to hear what we have to say or the stories that's being shared, as long they hear it, that is so important, because we have just helped one person. And one always make two. And it goes down the line like that. So, DeShaun, give yourself a pat on the back, because you really did it. You brought yourself from yesterday to today. And I'm not talking about yesterday as in Wednesday. I'm talking about your yesterday, your journey from where you were to where you are today. So hats off to you, my friend, and keep loving yourself and keep doing this with you, because you are amazing, you are important, and you are impacting the world, and you are helping people. And that is golden, my friend. Very, as you said, you don't have a church to go to preach to people. You don't have a church, but you're doing it. You don't need that. You have it in a different way. Again, congratulations. Brittany Pearl, the stage is yours.
I just want to say, you don't have a church to preach to, but neither did Jesus. And so I was like, wow, you're really walking the walk. And your story of what you've dealt with at such a young age, I think is so powerful for this day and age, where a lot of young men are in that space of not knowing what their value is, not knowing how to improve themselves or work through these situations. There's a lot of voices out there that are trying to steer them in a direction that ultimately is going to harm them, or cycle back into these really negative headspaces as they're purporting something and not delivering results on it. And the results ultimately keep these young men stuck in this treadmill of like wondering what the value is. And I really resonate with your story, because I think with AI coming through with all this stuff, I'm very worried about men. And I'm worried about them understanding that their value and their purpose is beyond that rat race of working yourself to the bone. And it's like men are so forced into this. And your story, I can just see it being the story of so many young men that are out there. And you're showing them a way through. So thank you for that. And yeah, that was just, it was very deep. So you've accomplished a lot, especially being diagnosed with something like major depression. Besides having that little charge of like, I'm going to prove them wrong. This is not who I am. I'm not making this my identity. What else kind of got you through that space, because I know with depression, it's like clawing out of quicksand or mud. So share a little more about your experience of what it really took from you to shift your mindset and your condition.
So, that's actually a good question, and that's not a question that I get asked a lot. But ultimately, it was seeing my grandmother and my aunt come into the hospital while I was, because our hospital had a psych ward, so I was in that psych ward, and you know, seeing my grandmother and my aunt just come and checking on me every single day. When they couldn't come, my grandma was calling me, making sure I was okay, making sure everything was good. Um, and those were the ones that came and checked in up on me. And the reason why is because my grandmother, she's the one that raised me.
Mm,
So it helped me understand that if my mom, who gave birth to me, didn't show up, my grandmother was gonna be there. Even if she has all these health problems and she can't, like, she needs like a walker in order to help her walk. Yeah, she's gonna show up. She's gonna and she's gonna make sure that everything is okay. Another thing that helped me was when I got out of the hospital. I did not jump back into the role of volunteering at the church, because I literally did the backstage work of live streaming, pulling all this, like the teleprompter and feeding the feed into our main, and from our main campus into our local campus. I was not given the option to jump back in as a volunteer. I was told, take time away, study the Bible, really study the Bible, and understand what it's saying. And then before you come back, when you're ready to come back to serve, reach out to us. We'll have a meeting and we'll see if you're ready to serve. And it that took that definitely took me. It helped me understand, like, it's one thing to say, oh, I volunteer at the church. It's another thing to say, I'm volunteering at the church and I'm walking this walk. Even though life gets hard, I am committed to walking the path that God has set forth for us, and to go out there and make those disciples. Because when I was going through this, I was just going through the motions. So who's to say that me jumping back into this, I wasn't gonna just go back to the motions, because this is what I've known for so long. And knowing that I had to set boundaries, and knowing that I finally learned to love myself. And I tell people every day, I don't fully understand how to love myself, but my fiance that I'm with now, she gives me this unconditional love. And she knows my story. And this is not the one I was with when I went through that. But she knows my story. And she loves me because of it anyway. And that is the closest. And I tell people, when we talk about having someone that gives you the love that God gives us every single day, this is the closest. Other than my grandmother, this is the closest I have gotten when it comes to feeling God's love in front of me. But getting back to that, it was knowing that, you know, with my job, I had to set those boundaries. And I knew that in order to set those boundaries of, I'm not going to work these many hours, I need to become supervisor so that I can have say so that my words can have the leverage that I need. Did I make supervisor time I got out of the hospital? No. But I trained the supervisor that came in. He was an amazing supervisor. And I very rarely worked overtime with him. After he left, there was another supervisor that came in. I trained that supervisor, or I tried to train him. When he was terminated, they didn't look for another supervisor. They just moved me up. I had already been a shift lead under 3 other supervisors. I knew what I was doing. They moved me up to become supervisor. And to this day, that is a title that I hold so dearly because I made supervisor at the age of 20, making company history. It's the youngest, and I hate to put it like this, but the youngest black male that made supervisor, because everyone else, like, I made history with that. And I tell people, all the time, I was like, I'm not just the youngest supervisor in that history. I'm the youngest black male that was supervisor in that company history. And when you look at it, it's not because, and I look at things now, it's not because they decided to choose me. It's because God said, now is your time for you to step into this role. You will now understand the path that I have in front of you. Was I ultimately demoted from that position? Yes. But I think that the time from December 2018 to April 2019, I believe that was my time of saying, okay, God's time and calling for him to tell me, now is the time to go full in on your goals and to get them prioritized, to know that you need to love yourself and to know that a job will always put the job before your health.
Well stated. Thank you so much. So we are at the top of the hour. Well, past it. Where can people find you?
So people can find me on Instagram, and my handle on Instagram is DeShaun Wrights _, and so Wrights just like the play on, like, literally right, and I guess you're writing something. You can find me on Facebook, DeShaun Williams. LinkedIn is Reverend Dr. DeShaun Williams. So those are the main platforms that I use, and or if you can't remember that, my website is writeyourwayllc.com, and those have my socials attached to it as well.
Sorry, just getting those in those chat. And hopefully that is all correct. If you want to double check that. But thank you so much for joining us. And
So
to recap.
So at DeShaun Wrights, there'll be an underscore right behind the word rights.
Okay. Let me copy this real quick. Sorry, it's going to be a little loud. And underscore.
And DeShaun it has a U and not a W in it.
Oh.
It's perfectly fine.
All right. That should be fixed now.
Let's see. Let's see when it comes back around. I still see that.
Bring that back. All right, Zach.
Yes. That is. Hold on. So, and DeShaun is DESHAUN. You have DESAHUN.
Okay. So let me.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. We got a lot going on right now. We got a lot going on.
So it is on Instagram at DESHUN W.
DESHAUN.
Oh, SHUN. Okay.
WRITES _.
And then Reverend Dr. DeShaun DESHAUN.
Yes.
On Facebook, and Write Your Way LLC, WRITEYOURWAY LLC.com.
Yes. So the Reverend Dr. DeShaun Williams is on LinkedIn. Facebook is just DeShaun Williams. There's a lot of DeShaun Williams out there, but I promise you'll know which one is me. You will definitely know which one is me. So
amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your message. And I think this is such a huge, pivotal time to have this message right now and to have you be placed in a position to really share it and help a lot of young men right now. And thank you so much. Usually I do ask for like one last message, but you kind of already added that in. But I do want to ask, is there anything else that you would want to add on to that?
Yes, and this is a quote that a volunteer at church told me, and it's a hard truth. No one thinks about you or the mistakes that you make more than you. No one's going to remember the mistake that you made tomorrow, maybe even an hour from now, a year from now, but they will remember how you make them feel. So make sure that first impression is a great one.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And for those who are watching or listening, thank you for joining us at Trauma Talk Thursdays. And thank you for being part of our community. We have a lot happening in June. We have Your Trauma Talks Live in New York. So if you are in New York, if you are a health or wellness practitioner and you want to speak on stage, we still have a few spots left. So be sure to go to mrtraumatalks.com or reach out to Ra or I, and we will get you the information to join in. For everybody else, we do have tickets on sale on Eventbrite. So hopefully the link will be somewhere underneath this, or you can reach out to us as well, and we will get you that information. And we look forward to you joining us at Your Trauma Talks Live. Always remember, share this forward with one person in your life that you know could use this story, that needs this story. Because as I am on social media, I see so many young men that need Reverend Dr. DeShaun's story. They need to know that they have value, that they are worthy, and that they have a purpose. And it's not to just work themselves to a bone under the idea of providing. It's deeper than that. And thank you, Reverend Dr. DeShaun, for doing the work, for listening to the call, and for going above and beyond. Thank you again, and good night.